In my previous video, I showed you how enrollment platform restrictions work when a user is enrolling a device. The enrolling user either matches a custom restriction or falls back to the default. However, things behave very differently when a device is trying to enroll without a user, also known as userless enrollment. And today, I am going to show you exactly why. Let's click Create Restriction, and if you go to Assignments, you need to add a group here. Now notice something interesting. It does not actually specify whether this needs to be a user group or a device group. But if you think about it, it is obvious that this has to be a user group. And here is why you could never assign a device group here in the first place. This restriction is applied during enrollment, which means a device attempting to enroll does not exist as a managed device yet. And if the device does not exist yet, it cannot possibly be a member of any device group, since device groups are built from devices that are already known to Intune. So, by simple logic, the group you assign here has to be a user group, because that is the only type of group that can realistically exist before enrollment even happens. And if you look closely at this assignment screen, you'll actually see proof of this. There's an option to add all users, but there's no option to add all devices, and that is for the exact same reason. The device simply does not exist yet, since it is still in the process of getting enrolled. This leads us to the real takeaway. Custom enrollment platform restrictions can never be applied to userless devices, because userless devices have no user, and therefore no user group to match against, which means userless enrollment, by default, always uses a default policy, no matter how many custom restrictions you have created. So if you actually want to apply any kind of restriction specifically to userless enrollment, the only option available to you is changing the default restriction for that platform, since that is the only restriction userless devices will ever be evaluated against. Let's actually go ahead and do that. Let's say I want to block all userless enrollment for iOS and iPadOS. Click on the default policy, click Properties, and click Edit. Now for iOS/iPadOS, change platform from Allow to Block. Click Next, review the changes, and click Save. This will now block all userless iOS and iPadOS devices from enrolling into Intune. However, this also means you are blocking all user-based enrollments as well, since user enrollments can also fall back to the same default restriction. To prevent that side effect, we can create one custom policy with platform set to allowed and target to all users. This way, user-based enrollment will always match this custom policy and get allowed, while userless enrollment will always skip past custom policies entirely and fall back to the default restriction, which now is platform set to blocked. This gives you exactly the outcome you want. User enrollment continues working normally, while userless enrollment for iOS and iPadOS gets blocked. If this helped you understand exactly why custom restrictions cannot apply to userless enrollment, and how to actually block userless enrollment using the default policy, drop a like. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Intune and Apple device management tutorials. I will see you in the next one.